Tov, this Shvi'i, as always, is dedicated to Rachalea Bas Rav Chaim Shvi'i. It should be an aliyah for our neshama. What we're going to be talking about today is Kriyas Yamsuf, the Sif, which took place on the 7th day of Pesach. So this day is very much the climax of liberation in every possible sense. So it's worth understanding not just what happened, although we're going to be talking primarily about what happened, but what liberation means in terms of our day-to-day experience. So beginning with what actually happened. So we're going to be looking to the text most of the time. V'yugad lemelech Mitzrayim ki barach ha'am ve'afach levav paro v'avadav el ha'am v'yamar ma zot asinu ki shilachnu et Yisrael me'avdenu. Okay, so the narrative begins by this: that it was told to the king of Mitzrayim, okay, that the people ran away, and his heart turned within him and the heart of his servants and the heart of the people, all three levels. And they said, what have we done that we sent away Israel from serving us? So let's look at the circumstance. Who told the Jews to leave Egypt? You all hear the song, Paro b'pijama be'emtza layla, Paro running after Moshe, imploring him to get the Jews out in the middle of the night. Then it's told to the king of Egypt that the people escaped. What's that about? So they had ideas about what would happen. Their idea was that it was impossible to escape on a permanent level, that they'd be back. We would have to go back a couple of psukim to see why. Okay, v'yedaber Hashem al Moshe lemor daber b'nei v'yeshuv v'yachanu lefnei pi hachibut ben migdal uven hayam lefnei bal tzfon nichachot tachanu al hayam. They were on their way out, and Hashem says to Moshe, speak to Bnei Israel, tell them, go back. And they encamped in a place that was called Pi Cherut, which was between Migdal and the sea, before an idol called Baal Tzfon. Who cares where they encamped? Why are we told this? We don't know these places. But this is very much a part of the Exodus. They escaped Egypt with everything that Egypt meant, the utmost possible evil that could possibly exist. It's compared to, as you know, Egypt is compared to the orif, the back of the head, the place of fantasy, of involuntary motion, of no soul. That place. And then Hashem says, no, don't go forward away from them, go back, make a detour. So the reason why Hashem said that they should detour in this way is because He didn't want the Jews to face the Philistine armies head on, which they would have done. They would have been afraid. Now these are people who saw the 10 plagues. What would they be afraid of? So there are different approaches to it. But one approach is, even though they saw the plagues, and even though they left Egypt armed and prepared for war, they thought they wouldn't be afraid. But Hashem, who could look into the human heart, knew that all of these years of servitude, as Ibn Ezra says, the mentality of servitude, the lack of self-confidence and brokenness of spirit that they had, if they were to see armed, confident people, they would be afraid and they would retreat. Of course, the Egyptians don't know about Hashgacha Pratis. Of course, they don't know that Hashem could see more deeply into us than we could see to ourselves. So they didn't know what to make of this retreat. However, as the Pesach just told us, the Jews were facing Baal Tzfon. What was Baal Tzfon? Baal Tzfon literally means the master of concealment. The master of concealment. What is the master of concealment? It's what I would call material consciousness, which means no matter how much you know, intuitively or spiritually, that the reality that Hashem sets forth is the only reality that endures, material reality fools us almost every time. Let me illustrate this to you. In Israel, this could happen. In America, I don't know if I assume they don't give youth tickets on the bus. I don't know if that's so or not. The girl gets on the bus. She goes to Neve. She's 21. The driver looks at her, assumes she's under 18, gives her a youth ticket. She'll either correct him and pay more money, or not correct him and say, well, it's the bus company's problem. He should have asked, or whatever she would justify herself thereby. But almost everybody would have at least a second of temptation, at least according to my surveys of the girls. They would correct the driver, but there'd be a split second of, oh well. Why? Because what they see is tangible. Here's the money, here's the ticket. And their knowledge about the evils of stealing are intangible. So the ultimate concealment is physicality. Physicality is called bal tzafon. In order to understand